Hello, lovely people. How are you? Hope you're doing good and observing all those necessary precautions which are required to keep you, your family, friends, community safe. That is the need of the hour. Welcome to yet another episode of Happiness How with Winko Chow. I'm your host, Wing Commander Satyendra Chauhan, aka Winko Chow, an air veteran and a resilient lifestyle strategy coach from Bangalore, India. And as you see, my guest today is a multi talented, multifaceted personality. He's recipient of international awards and of more than 50 youth national level awards, various recognitions in the field of performing arts. Has an experience of more than 1,000 live stage performances. He's perfect example of jack of all trades and master of many, as he calls himself, because he uses his various skill sets as anchor, singer, lifestyle blogger, motivational speaker, and corporate team building coach. And now he's turned an entrepreneur too. So, which actually brings a lot of positive difference in everybody around him. A VJ, presenter, singer, vlogger, Indian television host, motivational speaker, coach, and entrepreneur. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Clint Verghese from Mumbai, India. Next question, which is a little more serious. And let me tell you, we have a new education policy now. So we are ironing few stuff. I did write a paper quite some time back, and I'm yet to publish it in one of my blogs. So where I was very serious, as I also believe in the education system. Then that's how when you're speaking, I also see my reflection in you. And maybe after the show, I will connect on with you on different aspects of this, or maybe in your podcast, so that we know better and how we can go further from there. So, yes, coming back to now another aspect related to your industry, and why I'm asking all these questions, these difficult questions, is that uh, people do get into that layer. Like I said, I'm still smitten. It's not that, but I'm being more practical now. So, I had almost hung my uniform in Mumbai, by the way. Okay, so when
Oh,
I was serving in Mumbai, I had given my unwillingness, and I had almost hung my uniform, and then for some reasons I changed my decision and came back, and then served the entire tenure that I was expected to. So we do hear of so many camps there. There is this camp, there is that camp. I wouldn't want to name them, and which goes to show, like everywhere else. And when I'm saying, it is only that since we're talking about this industry that you are in, that we're talking about it. It is everywhere. If you come
yeah,
to think of it, it probably is everywhere, barring the armed forces where politics is still, not ingrained for the reasons like you said. There's not that uh, that bit of insecurity is still not gotten there. It,
yeah,
somebody may try to pull a rug under your feet, but you can rest assured it is not cutthroat. So
yeah.
so we still better off. So it is all there. So how about this politics in the industry, and how good or bad is that? And how challenging does it get? Although we've understood, you require a very strong mindset, you require value based thoughts and some system which can keep you ingrained, education and challenges, your travel and blah blah. Yet how does one cope with this when you know you're good and it still happens to you, or you feel that it is happening? We all know that you have to stand ground and continue your work. You continue your
Yeah.
work, I'm very sure that you would reach somewhere. Yet does it get to you? And mm, I don't know how badly would that be affecting people. So people who are making new entry or people who are already there, uh, a word for them somewhere.
So it is true in my personal opinion, right? It is true if you look at there is a larger part of the conversation happening about nepotism, about groupism,
Yeah.
about favoritism. these things, in my opinion, as I'm going to loop it back again. These things do exist. I am not going to say that, oh, nepotism doesn't exist in the industry, be it the entertainment industry or the experiential marketing industry. It does exist, right? I think it's where human beings are going to be there. It will be there. There is no way to get out of it. It'll be fake to say that these things don't exist and there is no favoritism and so on and so forth. These things do definitely exist, but I think it's about acknowledging that these things exist and then getting into the play, right? Like for example, before, like if we have these cricket matches. In these cricket matches, there is a analytics team that knows, okay, for against this team, these players would be better on this pitch, this bowler would be better. It's about understanding that what that is what we call a strategy, right? We need to have strategy towards whatever we are working on. It can't just be कि यार चलो जाके देख लेंगे and confidence है और विश्वास रखता हूँ हम होंगे कामयाब वाला गाना गा के जाएंगे. It all of that is required. That is a larger part of the process that is required. And as much as importance is to analyze and be practical about a lot of things, and you can't undermine the importance of those processes as well. And hence I would say that for anybody who's landing at a VT station today or tomorrow, come with the idea that there will be all these battles that you will have to fight as well, right? It's just that, again, looping back, are you emotionally, psychologically ready? Are you socially aware to mix in, blend in, be a part of various groups and still not be hated or looked down upon by someone else? So you need to, that is required as part of the skill set that you would require to grow up. You can't be one of the, like in my opinion, you can't be one of those persons saying that, oh, I'm not going to be part of this group or that group and I will do it all by myself. There are people who have done it. They are next level brave, or they are next level super confident, super proud, or whatever opportunities have come across by their side. Then there are people who try to do that, who have vanished without without anybody's know or hear. When I say vanished, as in like they couldn't make it in the whole process of things. And I feel it's about, as I said, clarity is power. You have to choose for yourself what is the path you're going to take. In my opinion, a very good strategy of understanding what will work better for you, and can you develop your social skills of being able to intermingle with all those various groups and all those kind of people and still be there, still be a person of choice or favorite by across all these groups. So
Very true, very true. And that reminds me of something that I call it balance everywhere. So one needs to do that, and also you may not make many friends, but make sure you're not making enemies. So one has to be, one has to understand all that. Like, and you very aptly put it. And lovely thing that comes out here is that acknowledge that it was all there and analyze it and strategize. So that's lovely takeaway that the listeners and people watching this will have. Now it's coming to some interesting part, and that would go to show my hard work for this. So that was you touched some sky high popularity with this title of Selfie King. And as I say this, I get the goosebumps here. So, and that must have taken you some creativity, and like I do try to cope up with the generation that is
the
there
generation.
already, or I'm following, trying to cope up. But yet I would be very interested, along with my listeners and people watching this, to know little more on this Selfie King kind of anointment that you had.
Okay, so first and foremost, I have to give you a quick shout out, Winko Chow. And this is where I want you guys to write boom in the comment section for everybody who's listening to us. Just write boom if you truly believe that Winko Chow is not just a smart and disciplined man, but has done his research and also knows how to curate these segments in a very smart way. So boom in the comment section, guys. Come on, write it down. Let's do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's great to know that you've gone on to that level of extent of researching about getting into this conversation. So that shows the kind of dedication and effort that you put into your podcast. So I really appreciate that, Rinku Chao. Secondly, so it was the year 2015, and I was out of college. I finished my master. I couldn't complete my masters, but I was. That's another story in itself. But just around 2015, MTV was doing a new campaign. That was the year, I think 2014 or 15 was the year
Mm-hmm.
when the Ellen selfie had happened at the Oscars. I don't know
Okay.
if you remember.
No, not
Ellen
me.
DeGeneres,
Please.
very,
Okay.
that's
I
okay, pop
but
culture.
not okay. I
Okay,
do
so that
watch her,
was the
but
year when
not this. Yeah. Okay.
at the Oscars, there was this Big Bang selfie that had happened, which
Okay.
had like the top A-listers along with Ellen in a selfie, and that had become like the poster picture of Oscars of that year.
Okay.
And that was the year of the selfie generation. That was the year when actually there was a Samsung campaign very smartly plugged into the whole Oscar scene, where Samsung had come out with a phone with a very high megapixel selfie
Mm-hmm.
camera back 5 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, right? That was the whole beginning, in my opinion, the beginning to the selfie generation, where suddenly all mobile phone brands started investing heavily into selfie cameras. That had
Mm-hmm.
become one of the strongest selling points.
Okay.
Camera was always a selling point for being a mobile phone. It was just the transition from the BlackBerry mobile phones to smartphones and Android and all of that. So MTV had collaborated with Panasonic. One of their devices was a Panasonic Eluga to come up with a selfie, MTV selfie, a great selfie challenge.
Okay.
So they had like a lot of entries from across the country. They had like some group discussion, personal interviews, and then they finalized on five people from across the country who would go on a 2 week journey, which was
Wow.
basically, so they had, it was a travel adventure show sort of a thing. There were three boys, two girls from across the country, from south, west, north, east, and all of that. And the thing was, every 2 days we would have one challenge. So there were 7 challenges across 14 days.
Okay.
The challenges, just to give you a very basic idea about the first challenge, was, and all the challenges were selfie driven.
Mm-hmm.
It was basically, we had to record our whole journey of 14 days, which is 7 challenges, through a selfie medium. So the first challenge was selfie at an international border. And then there was selfie, an adventure sports selfie. There was all of that, a lot of selfie challenges. And then the last selfie was the Taj Mahal selfie. Because, I mean,
Uh-huh.
so I remember everybody saying, okay, मैं Wagah border जाऊंगा, या मैं Kashmir जाऊंगा. And I wanted to do something very different, right? They were all choosing borders that were land borders
Mm-hmm.
as such. And my first selfie, I said, I want to go to Rameshwaram,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the closest. That's not a border as such, but
Mm-hmm.
there is a historical relevance to
Very
how
true.
India and Sri Lanka was
Mm-hmm.
connected, the Ram Setu, and then the whole history around it. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a master student of ancient culture and archaeology.
Okay.
uh, or just for the audience who's watching, that's how you
Okay.
smartly plug in the points
Eh,
that you want people to know
No,
about
no,
you.
no. That's excellent.
uh, so then, I mean, that's how the whole process had begun. And I had some really exciting stories to share through my selfie campaign. And it was a voting driven thing. And at the end of the 14 days, I won the show, becoming or getting the title of the Selfie King of India. And
And
yeah, so that was the
you
year
secured
2015.
25 lakhs 623 and 50 votes to win that.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow. I don't
that
even
was,
remember that.
I mean,
That's
I
exact.
mean, that's really, a big shout out. So and also, that's where that creativity I saw that picture of you, holding that selfie stick between your legs and with that conch
Oh,
there,
yes.
you know and
Yeah, yeah.
I would do that biggle in my school. So
Yeah.
I'm probably the only person in my house, and I mean in the surrounding also, who can blow a conch. So not many
Oh,
people
nice.
can do that. So it was really
Yeah.
a
Oh, thank you very much.
big
So, I
thumbs
mean,
up
the
there.
small concept, just want to bring in a quick story
Yeah,
of why the conch and why
yeah,
that
yeah.
is, because we have a historical relevance in Ramayana
Yes.
about how, Rameshwaram, the whole Ram Setu story. And
Mm-hmm.
also that the place where I had gone, where the Ram Setu is, there was a very big cyclone that had hit back in some 2-3 decades ago. And the whole town was devastated, and it's called the ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
our culture, we talk about how the conch wards off
Yes,
negativity and
yes, yes.
stuff like that. So it was also the idea I wanted to plug in was that not just that I'm here at an international border clicking a selfie, but the fact that I am at the international border, which has historical relevance, and I'm in the ghost town of Rameshwaram. So I
Hmm.
wanted to ward off the evil, click a selfie, not with the hand, but with my legs lying down on the beach with the water hitting my face. And I want to make it a little creative in that sense. So yeah. So for the
So
people who are watching this, if you guys are really excited to know what this is all about, just go to YouTube, write Great Selfie, MTV Great Selfie Challenge, Clint Verghese, and hopefully episode 1, we should hopefully get the video there.
do that, do that, do that. All
Yes.
right.
Yes.
So, how has been the journey till now? Before I go to ask your achievements, I would want to ask you how has it been overall? I know. I mean, looking at you, speaking to you, and uh, the energies and the vibes that you share or extend, or you connect. It's excellent. But still, how has it been?
Yeah,
And how many
I would
years? How
say,
many years it has taken you to get here?
yeah, honestly, I would say from that first gig that I did as standing outside the Mumbai airport with Welcome to India
Hmm. Hmm.
placard that I was holding, I would rate that as my day one
Okay.
of work towards making it into, because that was my that's
Hmm.
I mark that as the beginning of my hustle. Of course, there is everything before that as well, but if I
Hmm.
have to put a landmark
Hmm.
beginning to it, I would consider that was 15 years of age, just out of my 10th standard, trying to figure out what to do. And from then on until now, I have to, I'm very honest about this. I don't think that I've struggled enough with Gujarat. I have to be very
Hmm.
honest. I
Okay.
have partied through my journey.
Okay.
It just felt like it's been, that's where I always say that it's the great value systems, that sportsman spirit that I was fed with for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every time
Hmm.
has helped me look at every struggle as something was like an adventure to conquer upon, like a Mount Everest to climb on. And once I climbed over that, then I was
Hmm.
looking at the next Everest to climb on. So
Hmm.
of course there are challenges, of course there are heartbreaks, of course there are failures to deal with, but it has just been a great big bang party of 14 years. I'm 29 now. So since my
And
first day at outside Mumbai airport until now, and the
great.
journey ahead, I'm just going to party it through.
And apparently, I'll keep coming back and telling you how important the process is. So probably you were
Yeah.
enjoying that process all the while, so it never felt that difficult while those things came. Yet there must have been those challenges, like you said, heartbreaks. I'm not getting there though, the serious ones. So yet yet I would want to understand if you had to name three things and then top it with one aspect that you have changed about yourself, which is seeing you where you are today.
You know what? I have to tell you this, and I always say this also. It's the biggest learnings that I've got is from the biggest failures that I've had.
Okay.
The winnings have always been great. I mean, there is nothing much to ponder about when you've won something, but it's always every failure. I still remember when I was in college, I'd applied for being a radio jockey, which didn't work out because they said that you don't qualify to be a good radio jockey or something like that. And I was really dejected. I was like, oh, come on, man, I've been told that I speak pretty well, and this was a job. And back in the day, I'm assuming, or in my opinion, I wasn't the best looking guy. Neither am I now, but I think I've evolved to kind of learning to look a little better and all of that. So I said, yeah, come on, it's not even a camera job. I just had to be in front of the
Hmm.
mic. And I was told by I think it was 93.5 FM, which had
Hmm.
conducted a radio jockey competition, and they said that you're not good enough. I
Hmm.
remember being part of a personality contest of what back in the days used to be Bombay Times Fresh Face.
Hmm.
It still exists as an intellectual property. It still is one of the biggest inter college cultural sort of a competition where you have
Hmm.
winners from each college, then competing at state level, and then from each zone there are winners at a pan India level, like how you have Gladrags, Mr. India, and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. But at a college level, I remember winning the college level competition and then not making ahead for the regional
Hmm.
zonal elements from there. And I was told that, Clint, your energy is great, but you just don't fit here. And I was like, come on, man, why would you say my energy is great and then I don't fit here as well? And then, so I have learned from my failures. I've looked at the dejections that I've had,
Mhm.
and I think, in my personal opinion, it's the failures that has taught me a lot. And today, when I look at it, if I had to get opportunities at those places, maybe I would have not struggled further to work and look towards more opportunities of what I'm doing or what I've excelled in today. And hence, I feel it's great. I auditioned for some serials and some movies and all in in the past, and it didn't work out. And I was like, oh my god, they are saying that you're good, but you don't fit the role. मैंने बोला ये क्या बात हुई यार, कि ये क्या बात हुई कि तुम अच्छा करते हो पर ये तुम्हारे लिए नहीं है. So I have always, that's what I meant by the heartbreaks that I was talking about. It's difficult to go through that, but I feel you must, it's part of the process. वो अच्छा क्या कहते हैं, वो लोहे का अच्छा डिजाइंड
Mhm.
पॉटरी या पॉट क्या कहते हैं उसको यार,
Uh,
जो चीज होता है वो अच्छा इसलिए दिखता है क्योंकि उसको बहुत गर्मी
बहुत
में मार मार के शेप और डिजाइन दिया
हम्म,
गया है. तो जब तक आप वो प्रोसेस से जाने को तैयार नहीं होगे, तो तब तक आप वो अच्छा डिजाइन एलिमेंट बनोगे नहीं. तो
हम्म,
you have to always look at every beating as, oh, now you're getting shaped better. So don't give up. Don't give up on your dreams. I truly believe, and I always say this to a lot of my juniors
mhm,
also, people who ask me for opinions and advices and suggestions. I always tell them that it's great that you failed in something you wanted to do, because the moment you look at all of those failures, all of those stepping down as an opportunity to further ladder up, it's the perspective that you need to develop and not
mhm.
the result of a specific failure. Because I look at every great philosopher, scientist has always said that the greatest discoveries or the inventions have happened because of a failed attempt
Failures.
of wanting to do something else. They
Very
were
true.
maybe working on something else, but suddenly it happened to make something else, and here we are. The eureka moment happened. So I feel, more importantly, have a perspective where you're looking for opportunities. Your failures will teach you great things.
Excellent. So,
So yeah, I mean,
yes.
some of the failures are that, from not getting an opportunity to become a radio jockey, not getting that serial offer, that ad offer, and all of those things that I tried to make things out of, but never happened. And I thought, of course, at that moment you feel, it's a loss. Life has come to an end. There is nothing more to look forward to. You go through that. How much ever I want you guys to know that how much ever I say these philosophical things, right? It
Yeah,
is
yeah.
definitely like, it's building a shield for yourself, but there are times the shield collapses. There is that attack that happens on you. You feel vulnerable, you feel down and out. And I think the great part is rising up from that
Very
vulnerability,
true.
rising up from वो कहते हैं ना यार, उठकर गिरने वाले को कहते हैं बाजीगर,
Hmm.
or something on those lines, right? गिरकर उठने वाले को कहते हैं, sorry, I just gave it the
गिरते
other
हैं
way around.
शहसवार
उठकर,
मैदान जंग में वो तिफ्र ही क्या जो घुटनों के बल चले हैं. Anyway, that was another one. But what
क्या
what I'm
बात है.
hearing here is, it is like it is not rejection. It is your attraction to the likewise energies which were wanting to place you in a bandwidth which takes you further. And just to tell you, you just beginning. I remember a
Yeah.
story. As a matter of fact, I still have. I said I'm still smitten. So I still think somebody asked me, "Oh, would you do this for Radio FM?" And this is far east, where I was stationed, and I have very good friends. So this person told me, I said, "Dear, I know I can be there, but I know it is how long may be the span. So I think I'm better off here." So it is like you said, probably, and for you, it is when I think I have mine is just beginning. You have a long, long way to go, and all this will keep happening. I'm very sure if you continue to think like this, there are even better things would happen. And what radio jockey or what a small modeling assignment. Yes, I was looking for that to add in your profile to write model. So it will happen very soon. Mark my words. So,
Thank you very much.
so
Thanks for the love and kindness. I look forward to it as well.
and so now coming to if you had to rate your three top achievements professionally or personally, what would be those, and how you think that these can help the other youngsters who following the suit, or the professionals, or people in that, your peers, where they are grappling with all the challenges and negativity?
Mm, I mean, again, I have a philosophical answer to it. I have a very materialistic answer to it as well. I will give
Okay.
you both. I will give you the philosophical part of it first
First, you tell
and
me
then
your
jump into the
achievements.
achievements. Okay, too much philosophy already. So, of course, I think, landing a job as a video jockey with MTV has been a landmark
Great.
achievement in that sense, for sure.
Hmm.
Of course, after that, then I recently won the best corporate MC at
Hmm.
male category, in the male category,
Great.
where I had where there were some great nominations across people who've been very senior in the industry, have done a great deal of work, and people who I look up to. I was nominated along with them. Getting nominated along with them in the same category was in itself a proud moment for me. And of course, winning it just kind of made me feel even more ecstatic. That's one part of it. And more importantly, right now, also the third one of the recent achievements that I would say is I was very smart enough to use this whole initial part of the COVID period to
Hmm.
invest into becoming a happiness coach. I did a course with the
Great.
Berkeley Institute of Wellbeing, and
Great.
I consider that as an achievement because I look at today that course kind of has helped me with a lot of frameworks in general, right?
Hmm.
Like we all say that we coaches can have an impact on people. We don't just listen to people and tell them what to do. We help them with frameworks so that we give them tools to kind of use that as uh, as things that they can do. Of course, if I look at it, a bunch of things like I've given TEDx talks, I've traveled to over 20 countries around the world doing events and all of that. But I feel those were achievements only until when I did it. I don't feel any great about it when I talk about it today. Today when I look at it, maybe let's say the number of people that I've got to follow across social media platforms, I feel great about that. But as I said, I would have looked at it initially as a point from a very individualistic perspective कि यार मेरे को इतने लोग follow करते हैं तेरे को कितने करते हैं. I don't feel like that anymore. I just feel that it's not about the number of people that follow me, but the number of people that I can have an impact on through my
Very true.
stories. So every day I begin my day with saying that boom shakalaka, it's a beautiful day, as I always say, and then
Great.
I take them through the different things that I do, from be it watering the plants or cooking for myself or doing 10 other things.
Hmm.
I share my everyday simple chores of life. It's not those, oh, देखो मैं इधर रहता हूँ, मैं ये करता हूँ, मैं मेरा वो है, मेरा बड़ा है, छोटा है या जो भी है. It's not about that. It's for me. And the biggest high for me is when people respond to it and tell me that, Clint, yaar, ek to they keep asking me, where do I get this energy from? B, they keep asking me that, tera har din khubsurat hota hai kya? Har din tera beautiful day hai? And I tell them that it's
Absolutely.
not that every day is beautiful, but it's that I'm ready to make my day beautiful. I also get affected when it's a gloomy, rainy day and I just want to be lazing in the bed and have chai and pakoda, right? You don't want to do much and you just want to laze around and you're not motivated enough to do your daily
Hmm.
things that you wanted to do. But no, I am saying कि भैया आज शायद मैं ठीक नहीं हूँ या ये नहीं हूँ, but it's still a beautiful day.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to I'm not going to say that it's a bad day because I know that where the attention goes, the energy flows. So I'm not going to get my energy to flow into a direction that's not going to be productive or efficient enough for me.
No, as a matter of fact, it's got another connotation that when you start feeling it is, what I call it, being, doing, and having. So when you start being
Being,
that,
doing, and having.
and I also say this, and this was actually my status on WhatsApp. You what a beautiful day. So I would say, and yes, I was living in God's own country in Meghalaya. So it would be 4:30 would be lovely morning and birds would be chirping, and if
Wow.
there is that frost and mist there, it is
Yeah.
generally there are two weathers. So I would say, oh, what a beautiful day. So that was always there. So but I was wanting to listen to one more word. What is that? Clint's Collective. Do you still pursue
Ah,
that, or
oh,
I would
yes. I
say that
mean, the
was an
music.
achievement?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about it. Yes, so Clint's Collective is also my band. Is my rock band. So
Mhm.
we've toured around again. We've performed. We've represented India at international music festivals. One of the challenges, now that you've brought up that
Mhm.
whole point, I
Mhm.
remember performing at the South Asian Band Festival uh, with my band back in 2013. This is back in the day. And I remember I had two broken ribs just before that at a concert because of this heavy
Okay.
energy that I've had. So I remember jumping,
All that.
keeping my one leg. We were performing at an auto car expo in Bombay with the band. And we
Mm-hmm.
had some big ass Ferrari on stage and it was really kick
Mm-hmm.
ass and thousands of people. And I get really high on energy. And I've realized that today when I look at it, I have learned to direct this energy towards things that can be helpful. But otherwise, it was like a nuclear energy and it's just bursting and doesn't know it's out of control. I jumped off stage and I came back again and I wanted to do another stage jump. There were a lot of people in front of the barricade. So what I did is I put one of my legs on at the edge of the stage and I put the other on the barricade. And what happened is there were people on the barricade and the barricade kind
Mm-hmm.
of just moved. And I immediately fell onto the barricade with my ribs.
Oh my.
Onto my ribs
Okay.
on the barricade. I had an instant, the show had to be stopped midway. I had broken two ribs. I was unconscious for about like, let's say 10 seconds or something because, it's like closer to your
Oh,
lungs also, right? It
yeah, very
suddenly
true.
was so intense. I had to be taken. And just within 30 days of that performing at the Mumbai Autocar Expo, we had got a great opportunity to represent India at the South Asian Bands Festival,
Mm-hmm.
which happens at the oldest heritage structure in Delhi, which is Purana Killa. And it's like bands from across all the South Asian countries that come together, and we were the opening band on the closing day. It's a 3-day music festival, and my doctor had specifically told me that you can't even travel because if you fly because of the air pressure differences, it can impact you. I
Mm-hmm.
still remember every breath was painful because ribs. It's the lower ribs also, per se, very sensitive part of the whole rib cage, and with every breath, with every inhalation, exhalation, the whole process, right? But I was very adamant. I was young and crazy, and I said, "Doc, don't worry. I will go. I will sit and sing." Was what the doctor had told me. Please sit and sing and don't make much of movements. And I said, "Doc, I don't know if I can sit and sing, but I'll stand and sing."
Mm-hmm.
I will share the video with you, Vinko Chao. So
Mm-hmm.
here's what it is. I again do a stage jump off the stage because I had patta and all of that. And I remember wearing a tribal warrior king's costume. It was all like Jingalalahu sort of kapda, and it kind of gave me some sort of burst of energy again. Thousands of people in front of the stage, and the band is rocking it. It's great music, great lights, all the jing bang. I decided to jump off stage, and I had a very bad landing because when you jump, it has to be always a spring action, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't do the spring action because of the whole patta tied around the ribs. And instantly I had a dislocation. In spite of all that craziness, I continued to perform for half an hour more. And you will see in the video where, my leg is literally, off the knee, the lower part of the leg. And then I had not just a dislocation, but it was an ACL, like an ligament tear, and I had to get a surgery and all of that. I remember still going on stage. There is a kick-ass video of me going on stage and saying, "मुझे लगता है कि मेरा हड्डी टूट गया है, but कोई बात नहीं. Bone is broken, but not the spirit." And all that dialogues that I'm putting across. I think I consider that as one of my achievements, to be able to continue to
Oh, seriously,
perform
that
for
was.
half an hour more. Yes, but I have to say this. It's like suddenly, as you said, right? It's like putting yourself to a frequency of energy where you
Lifted.
are not like a human level. Yes, it's not a human level. So I don't think it's within my capacity to today look at it. If I had a broken knee or a dislocated knee, I could do that level of physical activity. It was just tuned into a certain frequency where it's not human anymore. I know it sounds very just
No,
jazz
it's a
words,
it's
but
it's a science. It's a science, by the way. I'll tell you when you call
yeah,
me.
yeah, true that. And I remember then showing the video to the doctor, and doctor said that it's true. Even certain sportsmen, athletes, when they perform and they do these superhuman skills, it's beyond what they would have ever done in spite of an injury or something like that. Is based on some level of adrenaline boost that you would have had, and there is a science behind it, as you said. Like I'm sure 4Gs, right?
By the way,
You guys would have.
I've watched all of that. Huh? Let me surprise you again.
Oh, oh,
I watched
really?
that
Oh,
entire thing of that, that Purana Killa video. I've done my
oh,
research.
wow.
The whole
Wow,
thing,
Vinko Chao, that's
you going there and still pepping them up, and then that crowd cheering, and you coming
yeah,
back.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I think looking back at it, I feel these are things that I can tell my kids and my
very true.
grandkids, and I'll be proud of saying that this is what your papa, your grandpapa had done at some point in time. So So yeah, I
Very
think
true,
that's
very true.
it's only because of this. When you love something so much, no, you will never feel the pain of it. You will never feel the pain of any bad things that happen to you because of that.
Yes,
So
yes. There are stories, just to give you a passing reference. You must be remembering Anil Kumble, fracturing his jaw in West Indies and then still coming
yeah,
back to bowl. There have been instances where, a woman, uh, the car toppled and the kid was trapped. The woman lifted the car. How that
the
energy
car.
came, you
Yes,
call
yes,
it superhuman. So there are
yeah.
instances that happen, and there is
It was a
science to
granny who
yeah.
did that, right? It
Yeah.
was a granny of the kid
So,
who happened to uplift the car, and
yeah. So,
yeah, yeah, I remember.
so, anyways, so now, coming back to even more, trickier ones here. So the
Oh
trickier
wow, we have the trickier one.
trickier ones are
Fabulous.
the current ones which are doing the rounds in the industry. So,
Okay.
the reason is, uh, starting this summer, if I may say, the lockdown had started, and we got one after the other, news which was very, very saddening. Losing Irfan Khan, then losing
Rishi Kapoor.
Rishi Kapoor ji, and I did dedicate. I do hum, by the way, few tunes. I'm a, b-
Oh
I'm a
wow.
good singer, bad notes. So, but still do well. So, and then there was this shocker of Sushant Singh Rajput, and it was really a shocker. I still remember I was here doing my work, and I said, no, it can't be true. You know, because the charm that he had, the boy next door kind of image. Like I don't feel that connect with, probably I have grown with Ajay Devgan or maybe Sanjay Dutt or Kumar Gaurav those times, but you never felt that. But with this boy, you felt like that. Every time I watch MS Dhoni, I don't know, I cry. So, I cry. I can't help it. So, there is this stress emanating, in this creative field, and it is not limited to our country. You look at Robbie Williams, Anthony
Yeah.
Bourdain, travel blogger you are, and yes, we heard Pratyusha Banerjee, such a sweet, another sweet girl, or the recent one was Kushal Punjabi. The stress and the depression takes its toll, and now coming on to losing lives is certainly very, very saddening. And I don't judge them. I don't say why, who, why, oh, how did it happen, we shouldn't have. No, I respect whatever decision that they do. They are better placed than me, probably, I feel, at many places. Yet, what is your take on this whole negativity which leads you to actions like these with the successful, or maybe not so successful people? These are the things which we are aware. There must be many who are not even stories we are not even aware. So if you would like to share, that will be very helpful, although you have already done quite a philosophical insights that you have shared. But still, if there are some, real, what you say, on the job, or in the instance kind of things which you would like to share, that, oh, don't do 1 2 3, or maybe do 1 2 3, something of that sort.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is very true that the names that you took off, including Sushant or Kushal or Pratyusha or Robbie Williams and of the likes, right? These are people who committed. I mean, let's say in Sushant's case, it's still a very big question mark, and there's no. I mean, there is still a case continuing, so I wouldn't know about it. But let's say now we know for sure that success or how much money you have in your bank account is not the real parameter for people to decide to suicide or so on and so forth. Like we hear about farmers in Vidarbha who give up their
Right.
life because of they couldn't afford like maybe some liters of water
Very
for
true.
themselves, right?
Very true.
So I and hence I feel I wouldn't put the same together on the same
Hmm.
plane, because here it is because
Yes.
of maybe let's say very lack of resources to live life, and here that is not a challenge, but it's at a very emotional and psychological level. In spite of having a lot of things, maybe you're a millionaire or you have like fancy
Hmm.
cars and a lot of work in the future, but still you're not emotionally or psychologically stable to deal with these things. And you're right that it's a very high pressure job. There is, how you look, how your nails look, what color of clothes you're wearing, to every move, every act you do has a lot of eyeballs on you, and hence it's a very high pressure job. I won't deny that. And it is true for anybody, for everybody who's aspiring to be a part of, let's say, this industry, right? Like the entertainment industry. You must know that it, other than just being good at your craft or your skill, you need to deal with various other things. As you said, groupism in the previous part of the conversation we were talking about. You might have everything, you might have work, but still, if you feel that you're not part of a group, you might feel depressed. I feel depression. I mean, I'm not taking this away from anybody who is going through depression or so on and so forth. But
Definitely.
it's basically, in my opinion, these are maybe issues, or let's say problems faced because of a lack of investment into yourself. When I say investment into yourself, as in not into fancy clothes or
Very true.
other
It's here.
salon and all of that. It's up here, right? We have started investing less into our emotional stability. I feel
Hmm.
that's something that we need to all focus on, no matter what industry you're in. In today's time, if you're living in an urban city, it's high pressure. Lifestyle is high pressure by default. So from the food you eat to the emotional food you're consuming is all very non-organic, is very it can have its own damaging impact on you. But I feel, again, I will stick by to the idea that we need to invest into a heavier or a finer
Absolutely.
platform refining process in general.
Absolutely. And the way, our belief systems have grown, that I have seen very educated and very affluent people still seeing, going to a counselor as a taboo.
Yeah, yeah,
Believe me, I do seek help of a counselor. I do seek help of a psychiatrist also, time to
yeah.
time. Uh, Yet, and there's no harm. There are, like,
There's
in
no harm.
management, there is Johari's window, which says there is a hidden quarter in your life in interpersonal relation, which you're not aware, which somebody else is aware. Somebody will be able, and if
Yeah,
it is a professional, nothing like it. So one needs
yeah,
to, yes, certainly learn that. Uh, Now coming to the other sensitive one, which is doing the rounds very lately, and the whole TRP, game is up there, and I don't know where those ethics are. Again, I respect. I
yeah.
don't believe in anything being right or wrong,
I'm
so I will
highly
not go there.
disappointed. I have to say this, though I don't mention anything about this anywhere
Mhm.
on social media or anywhere else. I'm highly disappointed with the way the Indian news media has been reporting news, and lack of privacy given, not any damn, and just people following you in your car and hey, tell us this, that.
Absolutely,
There are hundred
melodrama.
other
Yeah, I call
melodrama.
it
Well, there are,
melodrama.
and there are so much other important things to be
Absolutely.
discussed about, to be, news has to be about raising an awareness and not just giving you drama stories to just tune into. I'm so disappointed,
And
but as they say, it's a business at the end of the day. It's a demand supply sort of a business. If there is
no,
a
as a
demand
matter of
or a
fact, no, there is no harm in speaking about it. As a matter of fact, last Sunday I did a FB live show with one of the journalist friend of mine, who I wouldn't want to name the paper. Had a long stint, and a copywriter for the same paper.
okay.
So I've got them on the show, and we got some good insights. I don't know if it may not be on the link as of now, but yet, and you see, consumption of substance or drugs is actually a known secret. Let's be very frank. You go to YouTube, you visit various channels, you will see Malana, you will see Kasol, you'll see everything, and I'm talking of this country. World over, it is known. What
Yeah,
happens in LA, we've seen. I mean, there people are at least open, and they have their own things, so they come out and say, yes, I am an addict, or I was an addict, and I am getting through this, and stuff like that. Yet, and like I said the other day, I was watching this debate where the person was very right in saying which industry is not gripped, which where we've seen it. We've seen drugs trying to be sold outside the schools. Let's face it,
Yeah.
it's a fact. Yes, I may not have any conclusive evidence to say it here yet. It is all known, and there is a whole research and studies which are available at different places. Yet, unfortunate part is that yes, the industry is the one in some which way people look up to, people
Yeah.
idolize. It is larger than life. I mean, uh, I have a cousin of mine. I think he's touching 70 plus, and big Rajesh
Oh
Khanna
wow.
fan. Big Rajesh Khanna. I mean, he would give away his arm for Rajesh Khanna. So that kind of persons we still have. So with all that, this uh, this talk now kind of lets you down. So and while we may not want to dwell what happens and what not, yet I would want your take on this whole substance abuse or so-called D word.
So, I mean, I look at it in two different ways, right? One is the whole social, ethical, moral angle of it. One is a legal angle to it.
Hmm.
So, well, I feel there is law is law. There is no turning things around. Things are illegal. Things are illegal. Things are legal.
Hmm.
Things are legal. If you
Very
consume
true.
something, I mean, based on whatever the part of the legality is, based on consumption or for trading or for whatever the law is, so there is nothing going beyond that. I feel one part of the whole morality is things that you can work around, right? uh, we know of a lot of artists, be it Indians or otherwise. Let's talk about this, right? Like there are babas across the country in Varanasi, in Rishikesh, who consume marijuana as part of their spiritual process. For them, it's not a recreational drug. For them, it's a spiritual medicine that they use to tune
Hmm.
into a certain frequency and so on and so forth. They talk about, I've watched a lot of documentaries. I've personally interacted with a lot of babas who consume these things, and they say that how it helps them to do what they want to do at a spiritual realm.
Hmm.
I feel the problem comes when it's misused, right? Be it any form of drugs. I mean, even alcohol for that matter, or even coffee or a Red Bull. If you consume more, it has its own effect on yourself. So it's not just legal drugs or illegal drugs that the whole conversation is all about. I feel it's about realizing that whatever you use, you eat food, you overeat food, you can have heart
Very
problems,
true.
you can have various other lifestyle-driven problems. So uh, I'm not going to talk about the legality of it. I'm more concerned about the how how are you using anything for enhancing your life and maybe for others' lives as well. So let's begin with the first point of how you use anything, be it your food, coffee, or substances that are Schedule A drugs or illegal or considered as whatever immoral. Do if at all you are indulging in it, are you using it to enhance your life or to make a hell out of your life? So I think it's more about, I feel there needs to be a larger part of the awareness. I wish the media spoke about awareness of or the power of
Very true.
self in all these things. When we're talking about, there is no conversation about it. There is just that, Deepika, क्या आप ड्रग्स करते हो? रिया चक्रवर्ती, क्या आपने माल फूका है? मुझे ड्रग्स दो, मुझे ड्रग्स दो. Arnav is shouting out there, LSD दो, गांजा दो, ये दो, वो दो, MDMA दो. I feel, I'm neither a supporter or an anti-supporter of should you use drugs or should you not use drugs. I think that's at a very individualistic, personal reference that everyone should have the opportunity to decide for themselves. Of course, certain things are illegal, so there is no conversation about it. But if at all you are one of those people, we all do illegal things, right? We jump the signal. That's not just immoral, but it's also against the
Very true.
law. We do certain things. We
Hmm.
all, every Indian at some point or the other has broken the law, right? I'm sure that if you talk into the legality point of it, breaking the law and doing illegal things can be defined as two different things. But we all have done that. We all have gotten away with that, giving a little bit of maybe, some,
Hmm.
uh, maybe you didn't have the
Very true.
license on that day, or you didn't have the PUC of your car and you maybe bribed off 50, 100 rupees or whatever the things that you did. So I feel it's about whatever you do, what is the impact that it has on you and on the society. I look at it in a very clear way. Are you is the media that is putting a trial, the media trial happening of the celebrities today, are they doing a trial based on the fact that they have gone out in support of things that are illegal, and have they promoted that idea or not? I mean, it's not for me to decide, it's for the law to decide. And I feel just media trials on people is a very, in my opinion, is not a cool thing. So that's where I would put up
Okay,
my word.
that was a really really very great answer and some very valid and intelligent points that you've put across there. So now, coming to you, personally, you are in your own way. You're famous. You're quite successful, and now that you've reached there, how do you deal with that? You have a big fan following. So how do you deal with that adulation and that success? And do you have a mechanism which can keep you level-headed? I know you have many, but some kind of routine that you follow, or certain noise or certain chatters that you don't go there and stuff like that.
Yes. So thank you very much. I first and foremost, I feel that I haven't achieved what I am, kind of envisioning, be it success or the following or whatever. I still feel I'm at a very nascent stage of where I want to go, because I think that belief kind of helps me work hard every day to reach wherever I want to reach, and so on and so forth. Maybe what today I'm able to have achieved or do would have been aspirational a few years ago, and today what is aspirational is something I know
Hmm.
that I'm going to achieve tomorrow, or I'm going to be able to hit tomorrow. So that's the first part of this of
Hmm.
the whole scene. The second scene I feel is, with anything that you do, when you have people looking up to you, there is a certain sense of responsibility, a
Very
moral
true.
obligation that comes as part of it. It's not that. So maybe at times you might have to put your opinions at pause. That's not saying that you are jailed within the whole social construct of pleasing people. I don't look at it that way. It's just that there is some sort of moral obligation wherein you don't want to say something or do something that might influence someone else in a wrong way, or put them in a position of doubting themselves, or so on and so forth. So, and hence I don't, if you notice that in my whole scheme of stories, there is, until date, there has been no conversation about Sushant Singh Rajput case,
Hmm.
or the drug trial, the media trial, or
Hmm.
whatever. I feel these are things for people to put on themselves.
Hmm.
My focus is very clear. I want to use my social media as a platform to engage with people, to
Hmm.
entertain them, and to hopefully inspire them, not
Hmm.
maybe influence them, but not force them into my ideology. A lot of people use that as a platform to do that as well. If
Hmm.
you don't believe in my ideology, then it's okay, you don't follow me, that's okay. So for me, it's not that. I feel it's about how you cohabitate, how you take different perspectives and still can manage it peacefully and coexist. It's not about either my way or highway. And hence I feel there is a certain sense of moral obligation. I don't talk about either politics or religion, or certain verdicts that the Supreme Court comes out with. Neither do I put out my opinion. That's for my personal group of friends, or that's for my
Absolutely.
family to know about. I don't let that part of it to be a conversation in the social realm of things.
Great,
So
great.
yeah, that's how I keep it, how I balance it. And just to give you another part of the balancing story is, no matter whatever I do, I go back home and I spend time at home, and my mom gives me 10 rupees and tells me, जाके मसाला लेकर आ और बोलना कि थोड़ा ज्यादा मिर्ची और कोतमीर देने को. So that's it. औकात पता चल जाता है तभी का तभी कि भैया बाहर लोग
Great.
क्लेंस अगर if there is anything of that sort, घर पे आके whatever you are, that's all outside the door. When you're with your family, or when you're with them, they keep me grounded in that sense. And my friends also, they never make me feel any like the way when I talk to like certain Instagram family members or
Hmm.
whatever, they kind of give me so much of
Hmm.
love and respect. They love, and like my friends and family do love me and respect me,
Hmm.
but it's just at that level. It's not a fan following sort of a vibe at all.
Great.
So
Yeah,
they kind of keep me.
actually, what you're saying is, I'm reading between the lines and saying that there is a lovely, mm, kind of grounding here when you try and look at things which can keep you grounded. There
Yeah.
could be there always are in everyone's life and stories. there would be things. So if sometimes when you are high, you should always think of your mom. When you go back home, your mom is going to do this. So you know that,
Yeah.
okay, yes, stay grounded. That's the best thing. So so while
And
we've
I've hated
spoken,
that at a point in time. I have hated that at a point in time,
okay,
thinking that, what is this, mom? You want me to do jhadu in the house? After I do a MTV shoot and come, you want me to do this? Do my bed? Come on, I'm not
oh,
doing that. But today I look at it.
although I don't know, I really, like I said, in my dictionary, there is a debatable thing that I say everything is right. There's nothing wrong. So it is only perspective. Yet, like you said, today I am at this stage where I can do everything. Yet I don't hesitate walking up, doing any chore for that
Yeah,
matter.
yeah.
Dignity of labor. By the way, how's my haircut?
Oh, did
Nice.
you get it done yourself?
I do it for
It's amazing.
last 5 years. Not now.
Kya
People have
baat hai.
started doing it, and I do it, and good things follow. So now I am happy. I style my the way I want to. Number two, I am not cribbing at the person in the salon. Oh यार ये हर बार यार बाल काट दिए अब उगने में time लगेगा. And third is there are some good things happen around the way your energy infects. My son has taken this up. He also styles
Oh,
his own
wow.
hair.
Styles
So
himself
so
now?
we all do that at home. I have to if I have to travel in bus, I don't mind that. If I have to travel in metro, I don't mind. I have to walk, I don't mind. So I'm cool that way. So if
No
we can
fuss.
remember that, there
Yeah.
are always things which can keep you grounded. So we've spoken of so many things. Now I want to ask you, uh, there are aha moments. I know you've had many, but were there any awkward moments or, kind of embarrassing moments that you've had where you said, oh shit, my zippers have been open in a public space?
I
So,
was just about to say that, a lot of those kind of incidences that has happened while hosting an event. And, because, it's a high pressure job. Sometimes you just quickly ran off stage between that 30-second of or a 1 minute of a window you had backstage, running to the toilet, peeing and running back again. And you're directly on stage. And then you realize that somebody from the stage's
uh,
audience is like,
uh,
no, zip. And, those kind of incidences. I remember hosting a lot of events where I've taken wrong names. One of the incidents is way back in 2014 in my nascent stage of emceeing. I still remember
mhm,
was I was working for NBA, which is the National Basketball Association, the American basketball organization, right? They were very active in India, and it was their early stages in India when they were doing a lot of events. And I remember this was an event in Chennai, one of the concerts that they were holding after a match and all of that. And I was hosting that event. There was Anushka Manchanda, who's a pop star,
yeah, I know.
was
Uh-huh.
performing on stage. And that was
That
also the period when I used to
from
listen to a
that
lot
girl
of
band,
classic
huh?
from the Viva band.
Viva
Yes,
band.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Viva
Okay.
Viva band. Viva,
Uh-huh.
if I'm not wrong, what they used to be
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I remember introducing her on stage, and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, the one who needs no introduction, I want you guys to give a huge round of applause for Anushka Shankar. And Anushka comes on stage, and Anushka gives me a hug, and she's like, dude, I'm Anushka Manchanda. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, of course, I know you're Anushka Manchanda. And I go backstage, the event manager fires the hell out of me, and he's like, dude, what the hell do you think of yourself? You think you're very energetic, this, that. How can you call her Anushka Shankar? And I'm like, when did I say Anushka Shankar? And he said, that's what you said on stage. She's Anushka Manchanda and not Anushka Shankar. And I'm like, oh my God, it's quite possible, because that was also a period when I used to listen to a lot of Anushka Shankar, who's a daughter of the
Yeah, I know.
veteran
Yeah, yeah.
Ravi Shankar.
Yes, yes.
Ravi Shankar's daughter,
Sitar
and I was
Maestro.
heavily
Yeah.
into Sitar Maestro, yes.
Yeah.
So, these are things that kind of happen, and that's a very embarrassing moment, because especially when she came and told me that, bro, I'm Anushka Manchanda and not, she told me, bro, I'm Anushka Manchanda. And I said, dude, of course I know. And I'm hugging her. And I have a video of that. I removed it from YouTube because it was like, too embarrassing to even
Uh,
put it up.
And
So there
sometimes
are those things that happen.
sometimes they can work. I remember this. I haven't done any commercial VJing. Yes, I would be. I started off as a MC in the Air Force in our own circles, and then I went on to host few events here and there. And I was doing this event for Dr. Kalam. This is a charity event which happens in Bangalore by one of my friends who's got a kind of organization put together. So and this event was event where Wing Commander uh, Rakesh Sharma was the chief guest, and the mm, patron was one of the very famous persons. I wouldn't name him. He happens to be from the Apollo hospitals. So now I called out his name, and then this chap comes to me, he says, "You called out his name wrong." So, and then he comes on stage and he says, "Great, you called out name of my elder brother who I have great reverence to." So, and then so I said, "Okay, good." So it can sometimes work in favors
Yeah,
also, and then at the end of the
yeah,
day, it
yeah,
depends on people how they want to take it. As long as your
yeah, yeah,
spirits are good and, like I say, intent is right, well, there's
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
no harm there. So now you've reached a certain point in your life. I know you have a long way to go, and you see life as ocean full of opportunities, and you would like to be remembered like a hippie who loved to travel, learn, and lived a peaceful lives, bringing smiles to people. So what drives you to that, and what is your vision further? What is your mission? You have any goals and any plans? What comes next?
So the first thing is what drives me, right? I think,
Yeah.
as you said, I completely look at life as full of opportunities, because I truly know that I'm at a very nascent stage of a lot of things that I want to be able to achieve. Of course, the purpose in mind is very clear. I truly believe clarity is power. The purpose is to be able to add value in people's lives. All throughout until now, I have done that as a performer, as a motivational speaker, with the various skill sets that I've done. Now that I've gotten into, now I've become a happiness coach, I look forward to scaling that up, helping people with tools and tools of transformation based on the science of happiness. So now it's not just about entertaining or just
Mhm.
some TEDx talk conversation that I want to talk about. I want to be able to set up my next vision is to be able to create a community I mean, this is how I look at it. India is at a very great stage right now where the average age of more than 60% of India is under the age of
Yeah.
35, which
Yeah.
means it's a youthful country. We have access to internet like never before.
Hmm.
uh, there is the larger part. I mean, it's even to the rural areas, right? A larger part of India lives in the rural India, and everybody today has access to a mobile phone, a smartphone device, and high quality internet with Geo coming into the scene altogether. And now I want to be able to look at how I can put not just my whatever I have learned as a performer, uh, but also as a coach, help people with tools of transformation, and hopefully create a community of people that consider themselves to be digital leaders who can thereon have certain more impact of having to engage with people and inspire them. I want to curate a community of people who can engage and inspire, and I feel that's how I would be able to, as you said, how would you want to be remembered in people's lives? And that's how. Oops. Yeah, I look at it as how, as a coach, can I make a difference now as well. So that's where I've formed this as an entrepreneur. I've got this agency called Engage and Inspire Global.
Okay.
So the whole idea is to facilitate that opportunity for people to to have tools of transformation, to be self-equipped, and then thereon use that to further, let's call it as like a happy virus, to spread the happy virus around themselves and help people to create more better, or the society to create better socio-economic opportunities for themselves. So that's my vision. The larger part of the vision is to create a community of people or digital leaders who can have an impact with the idea of engage and inspire for the society.
That's great. That's actually truly incredible. And while you want to do all that, uh, does a figure or a name, sometimes props up in your head or memory, or some picture, who you look up to, or who has inspired you, or has been a true motivator, in your life?
So, it won't just be a one point reference at all, because as I
Okay.
said, it's always, there is everybody that I've met or I Google, and I've like everybody from, let's say, from Gandhi ji, from the way that he could believe in his ideologies, not use non-violence, and lead a movement, get a whole country to revolt against a superpower, right? I think
Mhm.
the power of belief is something that I learned from somebody like Mahatma Gandhi. Somebody like my Nana ji, who was a farmer. He would tell me, and I would tell him, "Ki yaar, Nana," he was old. He had like he was a solo farmer too. He was able to build into quite a big of an agricultural land and have people work for him. But he would still, at the age of 60, 65 plus, still go to the farm and work in the farm. He didn't have to do that, but he would still tell me that today, if I work, tomorrow my country eats. And I think that's sort of a spirit, right? I mean, to be able to dedicate life towards something that is not just for you or your family. We all look at it that way. We are tuned to that way to
Mhm.
guard ourselves first, and maybe we end at that. And hence, my granny, who used to always tell me words of wisdom and have taught me a lot. My parents, my mom, who's a cancer survivor, who has
Okay.
battled cancer and have lived through and still continues to inspire not just me, but a set of people that kind of know her, and so on and so forth. So I feel there is so much of inspiration all around us. But off late, because I've been planning to scale my coaching model and reach out to more people and have more impact. Siddharth Rajshekar is one person that I've been following,
Okay.
learning a lot about
Hmm.
creating a digital coaching model, an impactful digital coaching model, how to scale it up, what are the processes involved in it. So he's one guy who's kind of inspired me a lot and have instilled a faith in me that if you have a skill set, you can actually scale up by using a certain kind of formula or process. I remember talking to you about Gopal as well,
Yeah, yeah.
and I kind of just Googled him and I said, "Oh, let me check him out." And I said, "It's great." So here's what I believe, right? If you believe in wanting to make a difference, and if that's where you come from, if that's your ideology, you need to have certain formulas to be able to execute that plan. As I said, you can be a great singer, but if you don't have a strategy to scale that up, then you might not be able to do that. Like I always say, my security guard in my building might be a better singer than me,
Very true.
but maybe he didn't have enough strategies or opportunities to scale that up, and hence he might have not been able to convert it. So if your idea is to convert it, have a strategy in place, work on it, be ready to, and then the value systems of be ready to accept failures and look at it as an opportunity to grow will help you sail through. So just to give you a quick tip, Siddharth Rajshekar is one guy that has kind of inspired me with the belief that I can definitely scale my coaching model.
Excellent.
Shout
Excellent.
out to Siddharth. Siddharth, if you're listening to
Yeah.
this.
And so it was lovely chatting with you. And as we come almost to the close of our session, and a lovely one, such an engrossing one, wish I could go on. I still have so much to ask you, but I know to split this into many episodes would be very difficult. So before we go, would you like to, I know you are very well known and people know where to reach you, but you still want to leave a link, or you want to tell them where they can find you? Please go ahead.
Perfect. So, Facebook, Instagram, it's Coach Clins. Just go to
Okay.
CoachClince, Coach Clins. You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook. On YouTube, I have a channel by the name Clins Verghese. You can check out my website, www.clins.in. We're going to rebrand that into coachclins.com as well. So, Coach Clins is where it is. The beginning of a new era has. Here is where the future is, as I would want to say. The VJ, the MC, the all of that has been there. But now I want to focus on Coach Clins. That's my new
Great,
enterprising idea.
great. Engage and inspire globally.
Engage and
That's
inspire. Yeah,
that's
engage and
lovely.
inspire globally. Yes, yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those who've been patiently listening to us, it is all about your perspectives, beliefs, your mindset, your approach, and your attitude. And what you can control is you. So we can see it. There's so much of inspiration here. And before we go, thank you so much, Clint Verghese, for coming on Know the Happiness How with Vinko Chow and sharing so much. Yet there is so much left out. So we would love to have you back again in some time till people have this fill. So, and we're very sure that we've been able to provide you value for all that time that you've spent with us. So next week we'll be back with another guest in another episode of Know the Happiness How with Vinko Chow. And till then, do take good care of yourself. And like we keep saying, stay fit, stay happy, stay peaceful, and keep smiling. So, Clint, all the very best to you in all the endeavors that you do and the project that you have undertaken, the mission that you're on, and the vision that you're going forward with. I am very sure the energies around and all the like-minded people would certainly keep supporting you. And who knows, we might be collaborating somewhere. So
Hopefully
that's
soon.
all.
And
That's all.
I wanted to especially tell you that it's very inspiring to see you kind of work on your podcast, the research that you've put into, and like, you know, things that you've dug up from
Okay.
like back 5 years, almost 7 years behind. It's very aspirational for me. I've been wanting to work on a podcast as well. The only thing is, because I have too many things put together,
Yeah.
my hands in too many things, like to work on a podcast. Now I know that it takes a lot more than just chatting up with people. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for inspiring me. I will definitely am inspired to do a podcast. And जाते जाते बस एक और बात कहना चाहता हूँ यार, दादी कहती थी, बेटा अगर दिल में हो प्यार और दिमाग में शांति तो सारी कायनात हमारी. So love and peace is all we need. You know, a loving heart and a peaceful mind will help us sail through this beautiful life.
Excellent, excellent. So it's love and peace from me, Wing Commander Satyendra Chauhan, aka Winko Chow, your resilient lifestyle strategy coach from Bangalore, India, and our guest Clint Verghese, all the way from Mumbai. So as we sign off, you take good care of yourself, keep smiling, and stay happy. Bye bye.